Okay guys, we're back with another Wait, Run That Back. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about The Founder. If you haven't seen the movie, go check out the movie. It was on Netflix, but they just took it off. So if you do want to watch the movie, you would have to rent it on Amazon Prime. If you know of anywhere else you can watch it for free, put it down below in the comments. But I do think that you have to rent it on Amazon Prime. I didn't see it anywhere else, but it could be somewhere else that I just missed. Who knows? Okay, so if you haven't watched the movie, make sure you go and watch it. Then come back and watch this video with us, because this is a full-on spoiler alert. Y'all gonna have to forgive my hair because it's summertime. I straighten it and it wants to be frizzy. So, and yes, I did dye my hair because in the last video you definitely saw my gray. I do have a gray patch like right here. That's the only place it grows. It doesn't grow anywhere else but at the front of my head. So I dyed it because I'm like, if it's not like full on Rogue from X-Men, then it's like you can't be here. You got to go. So pick one. I could do a skunk, but I feel like that's unprofessional for my job. But at the same time, it's like you're not graying enough. You're just like, and it's only right here. It's weirdest thing. So y'all going to ignore my hair. I've tried, but I don't know what else to do. I've literally tried with this hair. So this movie is about the prehistory of McDonald's. Like, this is before McDonald's is what we know it to be now as that huge franchise. This is the backstory of how it became a franchise. This story, it'll piss you off. Because I was mad at several different points in this movie. It will piss you off. But it's a good story. And I think there are a lot of lessons that you should learn. Stuff I think is common sense. But as we all know, common sense is not that common. So let me pull up my notes. So it's based off a true story, and it has some amazing people in the cast. They have John Lynch, Michael Keaton, BJ Novak. I don't know Linda's name, or her last name, shall I say. However, though, you know her. I mean, she's done a lot of movies. You know her for Scooby-Doo. She played Velma. If you watch the Netflix show Dead to Me, it's her. So the cast is amazing. But yeah, this movie, like I said before, it's the pre-story of the franchise McDonald's, and it's about the two brothers who started it and the man who made it into the franchise that it is now. So the movie starts off where we see Michael Keaton, who is playing this character Ray, and it looks like he's talking to us, the audience, but he's giving the supply and demand concept. And if you haven't learned that from Wolf of Wall Street, I don't know where you've been, but check out Wolf of Wall Street on the part where he talks about supply and demand. I'm not sure which one was talking about it. I think it was what's his name? Michael McConaughey. Matthew. I keep saying Michael. Matthew McConaughey. I believe he's the one who explains it, if not Leonardo DiCaprio. Anyways, check it out if you don't fully understand it based off of what Ray says in the beginning, because he does say it really fast. But we all should know the supply and demand concept. I mean, depending on how old you are. What we find out is that he's actually a salesman, and he goes around to different drive-in restaurants, which the time period is 1954. So this is like the style of like Grease, the movie. It's like the style of Sonic, the fast food restaurant. You know, you have girls who roll around on roller skates bringing you food. This is like the time of like where people are wearing like jean pants, which is kind of like, wow, he's wearing jeans back in this time period. I mean, you've seen Grease. It's basically that era. It's the bellhop, it's the hoop skirts, it's the shell toe shoes, all that stuff. He's going around selling these multi-mixers, God, that is a tongue twister. Multi-milkshake mixers to people within the Midwest region, different drive-in restaurants. the guy who he's actually trying to sell it to automatically tells him, nah, not interested. He goes to his car, and we really see in this moment the negatives of going to drive-in restaurants. You see the type of people that are there. We see that his food was taking so long because first he had already been there for 20 minutes, took another 20 minutes to get his food. Then the food order is wrong. So we're seeing all this stuff, which is crazy because, you know, some people do come into your restaurant or place of business and they're trying to sell you something that you're like, I already got something similar to that and our stuff works. Or they're trying to sell you something that's like unheard of. Personally, if I'm a restaurant owner and this mixer can make 3 or 4 milkshakes at a time, I don't understand why that wasn't an easier sell. I don't know. That was just my thoughts, because I'm thinking like, yeah, that would be useful so I don't have to just focus on one. I could do 4 at a time. I don't know why that wasn't a big sell, but it wasn't. Or maybe they just didn't have the budget for it. Could be that too. So afterwards, we're really seeing who Ray is. This man is like a legit salesman, and like not everybody can say that. For example, I have the personality of a saleswoman, but I hate sales, because at the end of the day, a salesman, like, one, you have to be accustomed to people telling you no, and also 2, you have to be very consistent, persistent, and deliberate. And not everybody can do this. This man is waking up every day practicing in his mirror. He is, you know, listening to self-motivating mantras on a record player. Like, he is a legit salesman. So I love that they really show, like, he lives, breathes this. This is not, he's not just doing this because he just wants to get his bills paid. It clearly enjoys it, or it's stimulating to him. I don't have that drive. So I hate sales. I hate it. Hate sales. Hate it. Now, what's unknown at the time is he makes a phone call to his secretary, because, like I said, he goes around through the Midwest region attempting to sell this mixer. So, but he does have like a home base office, and he calls his secretary, and we find out that someone has put in this order of 6 mixers. And he's like, whoa, hold up, that's absurd, right? Because who's ordering 6? I can't even sell 1. So who is this? So he calls them and like, hey, did y'all really actually order this? And they tell him, actually, well, no, we want 2 more. Give us 8. And he's like, hold up. What you need 8 for? Let me come down there and double check myself. So he drives from, I think at the time he was in St. Louis, Missouri. He drove from Missouri in I don't know the actual car, I think it's like a Thunderbird or something. A Thunderbird cross country to California, specifically outside the Los Angeles area. That's a long freaking drive, but he does it, and he gets there. And so the area that specifically that they're in is San Bernardino, and it's the original McDonald's. There are 2 brothers who own this McDonald's, and this is the first time he's ever seen a fast food restaurant. Like, the whole concept of it was completely like, what is this? So he goes and stands in line. First of all, why are we in line and not in our cars? Gets to the window. They serve him the food like literally immediately. He's like, where's my plate? Where is my fork and knife? You know, where's my little holder to put in my car? No, it's all disposable stuff, everything. So he experiences this and is just like mind blown. Then he's looking at all of the people who are eating it, enjoying their food. I mean, they was over here like, I mean, they were enjoying the hell out of it. So and he's just once again, he's mind blown. I mean, even how compact, like all 4 or 5 of us can fit on this one bench and don't have to hit each other with our elbows just to eat this food. Like, he is just what. Meanwhile, one of the brothers is sweeping, and it's Mac, the soft, friendly, big giant Mac, who is played by John Lynch. He meets him and finds out, okay, so you're one of the people who ordered all these milkshakes, and now he's starting to see why they need so many milkshakes. So he brings him inside, and he's like, hey, you want a tour? Red flag number 1. First of all, Mac of the McDonald's, why are you just like, hey, come on in? Like, first of all, that's just like someone complimenting the outside of your house, and you're like, hey, you want a tour of the inside of my house? No, 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 no. You don't do that. Like, you don't even know this man, and you're just like, come on in. Too friendly. But he goes inside, and that's where he meets the other brother, Dick. We're gonna have a hard time. I don't even know if YouTube has parameters on saying the word Dick, but let's hope they don't, because this is the actual name and not a male reproductive organ. The tour was way too in depth. Way too in depth, but okay. So yeah, they show the actual kitchen operation, and you can see in this moment that Dick definitely had to have some sort of OCD, because he is extremely, how he handles the business is extremely logical, even down to how you cook the food is a numbers thing with him to achieve what they're trying to achieve. Like, he's literally saying this many seconds and this many minutes and this temperature. Like, he's very precise with everything logically when it comes to cooking the food. You could clearly tell that Mac is more about the ambiance of everything, you know what I'm saying? But he's definitely the Dick is definitely the brains of the operation. Because of everything, Ray is just, wow. I mean, I can't even say the words. Ray is clearly mind blown. Ray is like, let me take you to dinner, because this is crazy. And obviously this is our first time really seeing Ray schmooze the brothers, because you're taking me to dinner so I can tell you more about our stuff. Yeah, okay. So he goes to dinner, and yet again, over friendly brothers talk way too much, and they tell him everything. Brief synopsis is, they come from New Hampshire and they move to LA for show business. They get a job at Columbia Pictures, loses their job right before or right at the start of the Great Depression. No one is making money except for one man with a hot dog stand, and people still gotta eat. I mean, we may be in depression, but y'all hungry, okay? They end up wanting to move from Arcadia to San Bernardino, which is, I wouldn't say they're close to each other, but they're relatively out of the vicinity of Los Angeles, on the outskirts of Los Angeles, shall I say. But anyway, so they want to move from Arcadia to San Bernardino. So they created a reconstructable hamburger stand. And that's when they go into the issues of a drive-in restaurant. The food takes forever. The type of people that are coming there, which is young teenagers or young adults who are just on this bad boy phase and wearing jeans and greasy hats and cigarettes galore, and they're hooking up in their cars. I don't know, I'm just picturing it. All I keep thinking about is The Outsiders. I don't know if this is the same time period. If you know what The Outsiders are, You know, like Pony Boy and all that, they're all dressed in jeans. That's what I picture more than Grease. So I just think of a bunch of little roughnecks. Their orders are wrong because the chicks on roller skates, the car hops, you know, they're getting their booty touched, you know, groped and everything else. Huge payroll because they got to pay all these chicks to go out to the cars. These heifers cannot skate, which means dishes are getting broken, or who's going around picking it up from their cars? People probably driving off with their dishes because they said stolen dishes. And they just said it's a huge overhead. So they focus on what sells. Well, what does sell, or what they noticed in their menu, what sold was hamburgers, fries, and a soft drink. They noticed the negatives of the drive-in business and do proper modifications to make it better. The chicks on skates, they got rid of them by making people walk up to the window. They got rid of all the dishes and the utensils and stuff by using just nothing but paper. No more jukeboxes, cigarette machines to entice those kids to want to be there. Now it's all family oriented. We see for the first time the Speedy system. The Speedy system is their, as I love the way they describe this, their hamburger making ballet of just the nice, beautiful flow in order to create the perfect hamburger every single time. Fries too, and just creating the order perfectly every single time. And like I said, Dick has definitely some OCD, and he coordinated until it was perfect. And now they got the Speedy system, which is completely unheard of at this time because they only have drive-in restaurants. They do not have fast food. So they are the first fast food company, at least that we've seen. Now I am curious, was there another fast food company before McDonald's? Before, after, during? I mean, at this point, as we saw in the movie, we don't know if they didn't exist at all. They could have existed and they just didn't market themselves well enough. I don't know. I'm curious. However, though, they did explain that the consumers weren't into this concept because, hold up, I just drove here, now I gotta get out of my car. Maybe I came in some house shoes or pajama bottoms. Maybe I didn't want to walk to the window. Now I gotta walk to the window. You know, these kids, oh snap, y'all ain't got a cigarette machine? Like, these people are smoking cigarettes back in the day like it's candy. So y'all don't have a cigarette machine for me? Like, what? Like, all the things that they're accustomed to, they wasn't accustomed to it. Like, this is weird. So at first it failed. The first time they pushed it out, it failed. So Mac was like, let's try this again. And this time when they did the reopening, they gave it some flair, honey. They had basically like a little miniature circus, not a circus, what do they call it? Like a little fair going on at their grand opening. But unfortunately, they had so much flair from the Columbia Pictures background that they had these like spotlights, which attracted what? Bugs. So there was just I can't even cuss, a big thing of flies at their reopening. So the next day, though, they're thinking like, oh, nobody's going to want to come back here because they're going to think we're infested with bugs, because I definitely would have thought that. Yeah, I would have. I mean, unfortunate that would have happened, but yeah, to know that there's just, I in my mind, yeah, do I think you cleaned up all those flies in one night? No. So but to their surprise, a little boy came and they just gave him a free meal. And the next thing, boom, 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 more people, where now they are who they are. Beautiful little story. But unfortunately, the whole time, all I'm thinking is shut your mouth, Dick, Mac. Shut up. Just shut up. Why I say that? Because people don't just give tours and stuff to stuff that they have not patent, copyrighted, whatever the legal. I don't know how much of that is in the 1960s, 1950s, or whatever. I don't know how much of that legal jargon is known, but like, I don't know. See, it sucks, right? Trying to give the perspective of nowadays is so hard because you don't know how easy it was to come across that information back in the 1950s and 60s, because they didn't have computers, obviously. But I'm also just thinking, like, y'all barely had TV, right? So to me, you know, especially y'all worked at Columbia Pictures. Did you not see how maybe they got their screenwriters and all the movies that they produce or TV shows, whatever the case is, see that they had to go through legal paperwork to make sure no one copies said story? I just, to me, they were around enough people or was in the business long enough to know, don't tell your business to strangers. Because that's what Ray is. You don't know him. Hell, he didn't even show up with the mixers yet. Like, so essentially you're being nice to a man that has yet to prove himself. Maybe, yeah, you have the same name, but that don't mean nothing. Where's my mixers? Why are you here? So the next scene is Ray can't sleep. After seeing everything, talking to them, he can't sleep. He just has ideas just going in his mind. And he comes back the next day and he tells them, I want to franchise your business. Let me make McDonald's worldwide. And they say no to him immediately. And we find out the reason why is because they've already done it in 5 other cities. They did 3 in Southern California, 1 in Sacramento, and 1 in Phoenix. The Phoenix one is the one that actually has the arches, or the McDonald's that we kind of somewhat know today. It's obviously a different version of it, but it is the one that we basically know today. And they also explained why it didn't work out. And the reason why it didn't work out was quality control. People, even though someone decides to franchise it, that's technically their location. So they're choosing to sell the food that they want to sell. They're not cleaning the kitchens. Most people who got money to invest into this stuff don't actually take the time to actually be there. I never understood, though. Well, actually, we'll get back to that at another point in this movie. And we also learned that due to all the stress and everything that was going on, it put Mac in the hospital, the Kind brother. It put him in the hospital. So they tell him no, and right in that moment that they tell him no, he sees the picture of what the Phoenix location looks like, and he's clearly drawn to the McDonald's Golden Arches. So Ray drives down to Phoenix to see it in person, and I think in this moment, this is when he basically marries this idea. Like, this is it. I have hit jackpot. This was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, was seeing that Phoenix location. Finally, he goes home and we see what is home. I don't know, and I should have done that research too. I don't know if Ray had kids, but we do meet his wife, whom she's a plain Jane kind of looking wife named Ethel. Oh, Miss Ethel. We learn he constantly invests in things that he believes are revolutionary. Like, he's sitting here trying to tell his wife about what he's come across and the ideas he already has for it. And she's like, here we go again. Yeah, you always do this. Mm-hmm. She asked him, like, dude, you know, is there going to be a time where you're going to stop doing this? And he's like, no. This is me. This is who I am. And this goes back to what we were saying when the movie really helps show who Ray is he is a natural salesman. This is what he loves to do. So to think of ever stopping and just be regular degular schmegular, that's not of interest to him. And I mean, he must not be doing too bad, right? Because I mean, did y'all see his house? It wasn't like it was a broke house. You know, you kind of would think, right, if someone is constantly investing their money into stuff, constantly trying to be an entrepreneur and all this, most of the time they don't typically have a nice home, a wife that can just be a stay-at-home wife. Because as far as we can see throughout the movie, I don't think Ethel had a job. So she's a stay-at-home wife. She goes to a country club, and they got a nice home. To me, for that to be a salary of someone who can barely sell things or constantly is trying to make a name for himself in whatever thing he's selling, he must be doing enough. I mean, granted, they do live in Illinois, Midwest, and it's 1954, so maybe you don't need a lot of money to do all that, but he's making something, right? And like my mom always told me, like, the only time you're a fool is when it doesn't work out. So, I mean, life as an entrepreneur or being married or dating someone like that, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ethel had every reason to feel the way she felt, because it's not easy to be going through the highs and lows of an entrepreneur. This month you're making a lot of money, next month you're not making any money. You know, it's the holidays, it's this, it's that, it's constantly up and down. It's a roller coaster. Some people just like being stable, and I completely get that. You just want regular foundation. You come home making the same amount of money every week. You're home 9 to 5. I get that. It gets a little redundant, but I understand it. Especially for her, like, you have to understand, he's on the road all the time, which means what? She's going to events or the country club by herself. That gets old too. You basically don't have a husband, and he's either super probably stressed out or super happy, depending on what time of the year, what month it is, you know. But then the bad part about married or dating someone like that is you have to be supportive. Because if you don't be supportive, then you're the bad person. You're the bad wife, bad girlfriend, bad whatever. And that's exactly what he was saying about her. Like, it would be nice if you supported me. Well, how many goddamn times do I have to support you in all your endeavors? Sometimes I get tired. Like, this one didn't work out, that one didn't work out. And unless you're just an overly hopeful person, which means you're kind of a little bit dreamy, a little bit oblivious to real life and reality, no one's going to just enjoy that ride with you. And that's what you see Ethel, like, that's where she's at. She's tired of supporting all these goddamn dreams. And I get it. Who wants to go through that? You know, and it's crazy because even like blue collar workers, they're the same way. Like, their schedule is crazy. Nobody wants to go to events alone. Nobody. It's like, why am I in a relationship? Other than the fact that, yes, my bills are paid for, but who wants to do things by themselves? Having to find friends because your man is always on the road, constantly gone, or working 12 hours. It's just a lot. It's a lot. So anyways, he tries to go back to selling his milkshake mixers, and it's just not the same. McDonald's came into his life, and now he can't get McDonald's out of his head. So he's driving around, and he starts looking at things, and what he's noticing is that landmarks or churches or, you know, places of government, they all have some big staple piece that stands out, whether it be a cross, whether it be a flag, and all he could think about is those golden arches. So he drives back to California, which is I'm telling you, the miles that this man is putting in his car, like, he is not just driving from, like, Illinois to Ohio. He is driving from Illinois to California. Like, The drive here is insane. I meant to Google to see how far of a drive that is. Let's just do that right now, because I'm curious, like, who's driving this far? I don't even know what part of Illinois he was in, but he was in some part to Los Angeles driving a Thunderbird. Like, I don't even know their highest speed on it, but I know the older cars couldn't drive nearly as fast as our cars now, right? That's a 28-hour drive, so he took probably 2 days, yeah, probably like 2 days driving all the way back to California to people that already told him no. And he comes to Dick and Mac with a spiel that basically said, do it for America. Not America, man. No, I don't want to do it for America, but one thing that Ray is he is a salesman. So the pitch is perfect. He knows the right amount of breaths to take, the tone of voice to take, that voice that encourages you, that voice that gets the people going.
Gets the people going.
And that's what he does. He delivers his sales pitch, and it's enough to convince Mac to try and also convince Dick to, let's do this. I want to do this for you. But unfortunately, in that moment, we find out that what sickness that put Mac into the hospital the first time is his diabetes. And everybody knows when you have diabetes, you cannot be stressed out. So they say yes. So yay to Ray, but they say yes, and they drop they say, hey, we gotta have contracts in place. We're not going to deal with the same BS as last time. And Ray's like, yes, I promise. So they drop a very strong contract. And Ray agrees to all the terms. I mean, he was flipping them pages like, yup, got it, no problem. Okay, cool, Ray, cool. So Ray goes back home, and now Ray has to figure out some money to get this thing going. The whole contract is them looking to Ray to get this off the ground. So he goes home and he shops around for a loan. But this is yet again to Ethel's point. We find out Ray just has a history of constantly trying to sell things to people. He goes to all these banks. They recognize him. His friends know that he does all this stuff too. So yeah, he's shopping around, and since they recognize him from his other startups, they're like, sorry, we don't want to invest in you again. So sorry. So he puts up his own house. He pulls out another mortgage on the house for his initial investment. And he's really betting on this. Once again, you're not a fool unless it works. Then we see Ray trying to get building revisions approved, because at this point Dick and Mac have done this before, so they're being sticklers about everything. So they're like, nope, can't do this, can't do that. And so all Ray is feeling is some roadblocks, and like, hey, like, give this a chance, or hey, listen to me. But they ain't trying to hear it. But rightfully so. He was also trying to get them a sponsorship with Coca-Cola. They didn't want to do it. But the problem that I have during this point, right, is there's two things that bother me. There is no way that we are going into business together and what you do is hang up in my face all the time. Like, excuse you? Excuse what? Like, what? Not once, not twice, but like multiple times you hang up in my face? Oh, the contract is null and void at this point. Don't I have like 30, 60 days? Nah. Maybe even 90 days to end this. Yeah, I'm ending it. Because first of all, you don't respect me. Because why are you hanging up in my face? Like, the disrespect is out of there. And also too, Dick and Mac care so much about quality control. But what I don't really understand is why they can't travel themselves. Like, even with Ray trying to do all these revisions, and they're, why at no point did Dick and Mac say, let's go, I don't know if they had flights back then, but let's drive ourselves over there and see what he's trying to do, or see what he's trying to talk about. I don't understand why they couldn't do that. Even throughout this whole movie, they would not leave home. I didn't understand that, but okay. Ray, at least, he finally gets his location of McDonald's up. And one thing that Ray does implement is everything that the brothers told him about, like quality control. He made sure everything was clean. He was there watching everything. We even meet the burger cook, who turns out to have a major part in the McDonald's franchise, is Fred Turner. But it's crazy, when he went home to his wife and was getting into bed and stuff, all I could think about is like, dang, he probably really stank. Like, can you imagine a man coming from McDonald's every night, smelling just like grease, burgers and fries and salt? Honey, take a shower before you get in this bed. Take a shower before you sit on my bed. Take it, cause stank. Your clothes probably stink, your hair stink, your whole body just stink. You just reek of fast food smelling. But okay, Ray is clowned. So Ray and his wife, we finally see them go to the country club that she loves, right? And let's see, Ray gets clowned on by his peers at the club, because they know him to have sell a bunch of stuff too. Now they got money, so of course, who does Ray go to? Probably selling things firsthand is them. So they've seen all of Ray's shenanigans and Ray's different startups, and they be clowning him. I did like that in this moment, Ethel did try to have his back, and she was like, oh, but this one is different. I mean, she has to, because otherwise you're not going to be considered the good wife. Like, forget the fact that I'm here during your ups and downs and all the risks that you got to take. Now I still got to be sitting here saying, you got it, honey, you go. You right. But because of her support, they opened their ears and they listened. And from there, 3 of them at least, and within a month's time, opened up locations. Now, it didn't turn out good, because once again, like I was saying earlier, rich people who can invest their money into stuff just think, oh, I'm gonna put my money into it, but don't sit there and make sure everything is run properly. They're there day after day after day. They don't even know how to run the business if it was left up to them to run it. So they just invest in it, basically. And the quality was trash. Just like Dick and Mac said, it was all trash. So they changed the menu of the food. They changed they just wasn't cleaning up. They put all the cigarette machines, all the what do they call, the jukeboxes, all back in there. So the type of everything that the McDonald's brothers talked about, that's what these people did. But the good thing is Ray cared. Ray cared and was like, hold up, what is this? We don't have no chicken on the menu. Like, what you doing? After seeing how his peers handled the McDonald's franchise and their own locations, I mean, he was pissed about it. He was approaching them on the golf course, like, what's up, what's good? So with that being said, he ended up actually canceling his entire membership to the country club. And let me tell you, Ethel was not happy at all. Like, hold up, no you didn't. Like, these are my friends, you never even in town. Like, what you doing? And I was actually kind of a little confused by that, because I understand that he canceled the membership, but did he cancel their franchise? Or did they allow, I guess I kind of had this question, like, did he take back the company since they weren't doing it right? Like, they never showed them again throughout the movie, but the only way that could work in my mind, right, is maybe the new people who did invest in it, maybe he took their investment and said, okay, here's your money back, and now they own it. I just didn't know how it worked, but yeah, they didn't really go into that or explain what transpired after that. So moving forward, one day Ray is in his office and there is someone in there selling Bibles, and he ends up recruiting them to own a franchise of McDonald's. And this is where we start to see where he now has a certain type of person that he's looking for to own it, which is basically young families who are eager for money, who are willing to put in the work, and this is their probably lifelong, or not lifelong, but this is their family investment, which means, hey, I'm gonna be up there too with you because this is my money plus your money, and we gotta make work. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. You know, and they also have nothing to lose, because at this point, this is them losing if this doesn't work out, right? But he loves to watch it, right? He loves it because that very first family, he witnessed teamwork from the husband and wife. And I thought he was absolutely wrong, kind of somewhat, to then tell Ethel about it. Like, granted, like, I get that's what he wanted, but he's not taking into consideration, like, who knows how many times Ethel has helped, you know, fulfill all the investments and stuff and startups that he has done prior. So maybe now, okay, now I'm tired. Now I've done this multiple times with you. So, you know, if you're gonna make this work, go ahead and do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably her mentality towards it, because she's done this before. Maybe, I don't know, they didn't show that she's done it before, but I can only imagine that probably in the beginning, when she's, you know, super green and super hopeful, like, yeah, she was probably right there by his side. Okay, let's do this, hun. But, you know, now after you did it 11 times, no, I don't have the energy or the patience to try and make this one work. You know, you get tired. Like, poor Ethel. Just poor Ethel. It'd be one thing too, you know, if he's like, you know, babe, I know we've done this 11 times, but if you can maybe stick this one out with me this time, like, give me one. Like, he doesn't come at her like that. He gives her this, like, guilt trip about it. Like, make it seem like she's been a bleep of a wife. And that's not right. Especially when everyone from the bank to your friends all known you to fail. Not succeed. Fail every other startup you've done. It's just wrong. But the wife decides to be a team player because guess what? You're married, and when your man starts complaining, unless you want to see him dip out, you gotta do what you gotta do. So she tries to be a team player, and now, you know, now she's turned into a sedity wife, right? She can't even go to, like, dinner without being like, oh, it's too salty. I'm used to the country club. Like, ooh, child. So anyways, they find another young family. Like I said, this is the start of him finding family-oriented people who have nothing to lose. And he ends up going to all different groups of life. Like, goes to a Jewish, I forgot what they call their churches. Synagogue. He goes there. He goes to, I don't know, for black people, I know they're called Moors. I don't know what they're called with the hat. Or maybe they're more too. I don't know. Anyways, he goes to all these people presenting the sales pitch like, hey, join in on this. However, on the other side of the country, Dick and Mac are annoyed because they're starting to see that Ray is getting cocky. And, for example, he's just doing little miniature things that could annoy him other than hanging up in their face. But he's doing little things like, for example, he wants to call his location in Illinois the #1 location. Well, sir, you're not #1. #1 is over here in San Bernardino. If anything, you're like #6. Because we've already opened 5 plus our location. So you like 6 or 7, really, to be honest. But okay. And now we are seeing the progression of all the hard work that Ray is doing right now, and to the point that they're opening up locations all across the board, like in Minnesota and like just multiple places. But while he's in Minnesota, and I believe this is the Twin Cities if I'm not mistaken, he meets this man named Roley, and Roley is a restaurant investor or something like that, something similar, I guess. And he's trying to proposition Ray for a location that's supposed to be like in, I don't know if it's like downtown or something like that, but he wants that location in the city. And this is like the first time I think Ray is starting to like really feel his accomplishments. Like, you know what? Dang, they're taking me to steak and lobster dinner. You know, they're rolling out the red carpet for me. You know, so he's like, he's there, but mentally he's not. He's soaking in everything that's happening to him. Meanwhile, here goes this Marilyn Monroe wannabe. And it turns out to be Roley's wife, Joan. And I'm not gonna lie, low-key, Roley was definitely pimping his wife out. Like, not even like to even be funny, like, he was definitely doing that, because once he realized what Ray's attention was on, child, he went and brought his wife over so quick to introduce. But it was so funny because did y'all catch that little shade that he threw to Ray? Because Ray introduces himself to Joan and he's like, you know, hey, my name is Ray or whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm Joan. Da, da, da. He was like, oh, well, you could call me Ray. You don't have to call me, you know, you don't have to call me, what? I don't even forgot what's Ray's. Oh, Croc. You ain't got to call me Mr. Croc. Call me Ray. And Roley goes there and said, that's some growth. Because, yeah, hold up. You're blatantly flirting with my wife in my face. Like, granted, you probably didn't know the entire time that was my wife. But now that you know you're still doing it, sir, check yourself, please. But this man had no couth. So then Joan is like, you know, she's a piano player, right? She creates this ambiance in the restaurant. So she's like, what's your favorite song? Like I swear this Marilyn Monroe. And he's like, oh, Pennies from Heaven. So she goes up there and she starts doing her little thing. And he gonna take this opportunity to think he's Bradley Cooper and she's Lady Gaga. And they up there start singing together. Blatant disrespect. Blatant disrespect. Okay, you don't even seem like a people person at this point. But yet, you... Okay. Couldn't do that with my wife. Well, I'm not gay, but couldn't do that with my husband. Go up there trying to sing. If you don't come over here and sit yourself down. And not sure if y'all caught on to this because I kind of didn't. I forgot the dates initially when I watched the movie, but so it wasn't until the end that I remembered. But in this moment, Ray also tells Joan, you know, she's like, you know, when did you start this? And in my mind, I thought he took the year that the brothers started it. But then I had to go back and when I was writing my notes, I remembered, oh snap, they actually did this like back in 1928, 29. So no, they weren't, it wasn't 1954. So when Ray responded to Joan and said 1954, he actually, that was the date that he found the brothers. So that was a confusion in my own head. Not sure if y'all realized that, but yes. So in my mind I was thinking like, dang, he's taking their dates. But no, he was giving his dates of ownership when that wasn't the truth. They had been around for 20 something years prior, sir. 23 years to be exact. Ray comes home and he's on a high. Like I said, this is his first time really seeing people wanting him. He is now the supply and demand concept. Like, people now want him to make a dime, and he's noticing it. He's like, oh, guess who's top dog now, baby? and it turns him further cocky. Plus, on top of that, you know, he was singing up there with Mrs. Jones. You know, so he's feeling himself. He's feeling himself. Things are working out for him in ways that his other startups could never. It never worked out, and now he's really honing it in. And his wife knows how this man is, because she's over here like, I found another family. Nah, cut that. We got the big dogs now, and she know her man. She knows her man. So she's like, all right, well, here we go. So she's trying to keep up. We then find out that Ray is almost out of capital, because in case y'all didn't really understand what was going on in that next scene, is, you know, McDonald's get a percentage. First of all, the McDonald's brothers, this is their stuff. So already a good chunk of the money goes back to them being the founders. Then on top of that, Ray has, you know, he's franchised it and has his own location, so he gets some money. But now everybody who comes underneath him, he gets a part of their money, but essentially the big kahuna of the money goes back to the founders. So he's getting a percentage of his own store taken out, and McDonald's is getting a percentage of their own store taken out too. So both of them are losing money. The more, because they're basically they're what's with the fingers? Okay, basically, you know, the more locations that they're opening, and the more they're spreading out throughout the United States, the less money that they're actually taking in and pocketing. So, but they're not willing to renegotiate their deal. Cool. Not cool, because now Ray ain't got no money. Everybody's been coming from underneath him, that now he's getting less and less and less and less of the money, because he's got to pay all these other people, or he's got to pay McDonald's or whatever. When Ray does call the McDonald's brothers, I mean, instantly, from millions of miles away, Dick can smell things about to go sour. And he should have went with his gut instinct and pulled out then. Because, like I said, the way that Ray handles them as business partners is disrespectful. He, like I said, he keeps hanging up in their face, and he's constantly trying to put his own little twist to a situation that they already set up and agreed upon. So with that being said, you know, Dick is noticing it, but Mac is like, no, this is what we wanted. Is he annoying? Yeah, sure, but it's okay. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Like he said, there is a wolf in the hen house coming to eat your chicken. Nobody wants their chicken nuggets, though. McDonald's chicken nuggets are not the best. Wendy's is, though. Anyways, that's not the point. But I do have a question yet again. Going back to what I said earlier, why does the brothers have to be at that one location? Why are they not facilitating, overseeing, traveling, checking in? Why are they not doing any of that? A lot of this could have been controlled if they would just left sometimes. At this point, y'all been at that number one location for so long and know everybody, and it has a system and stuff, that you could have left that, or just left Mac there and let Dick go everywhere. Like, it's two of y'all. I never understood why they didn't, considering that they care about quality control, they didn't care about quality control, because you cared about other people fulfilling quality control, but you yourselves did not have your own quality control, and that was a problem throughout the entire movie. My other question was too, why aren't they opening up locations now that they see that Ray is being successful in doing it? Why are they not also doing it too? Like, all right, Ray's breaking franchise, we can be open up some locations too. Granted, they have 5. Yet again, it's like I say my questions, and then because when I'm filming this, I'm saying it out loud probably for the first time, that I'm just like, you know what? I'm answering my own questions. Y'all won't leave. You won't leave. You have 5 locations that are not doing well. I don't know if you still have them or not. You have 5 locations and you still never tried to fix them, despite the fact that someone else messed them up. Because Ray is losing capital, the banks are calling him. Bills are due. Hello, ring, ring, ring. Rent due. They end up calling his home. If you remember from the first scene, when he goes to the bank, he tells them, don't call my house phone, call my work phone, because that's the best line to keep me. Well, they can't find him. And I don't know how, doesn't even matter how, but they got his phone number, his home phone number, and call because he ain't paying his bills. And Ethel finds out, like, he mortgaged their home without her consent. And he, I don't know what he thought he was doing in this next scene, but he was so pissed that she found out that he gonna go storming up to the bank. Sir, we're doing our job. You know this all fell on you. You know what? Ray really has some anger issues. He really got anger issues, because the fact that you gonna come up here to the bank to yell at us for calling your house phone when you ain't even answering the phone. Child. Okay. I mean, like, for real, like they were going to listen to you? I mean, what do you think we're so sorry. We're so sorry for calling your house phone. We won't do it again. No, give us our money. The money that we fronted you, run it back. Wait, run that back. And then on top of that, he's 3 months late. Like, sir, it's not even like you're just 1 month behind, 2 months. 3 months, basically the power of 3. When you 3 months behind on something, that's when actions start being actually taken. Okay, things get cut off. We start repossessing, all that stuff. When it's 3 months, like, that's when things go bad. Later that evening, yet again, line stepper Ray goes over to the Smith's location in Minnesota. Which, I mean, this man is just pushing it with gas, okay? He goes up there and sees little Miss Joan. So they all decide to go to dinner as a family. Well, not a family, but, you know, them as a couple and Ray decide to go have dinner. And they start talking about how can we lower some of these costs. Well, one of them is this giant refrigerator that we're paying for to store up all this ice cream. So Miss Joan has been doing her research, honey. The research that she's been doing is, why don't we create powdered milkshake? I don't know what that tastes like, because I'm not even technically a milkshake person, but that already sounds disgusting to me. But okay. So yeah, she all you do is pour it in, stir it up, and boom, it's a milkshake. So, and I would just like to point out, Joan at this point was being just deliberately as disrespectful as Ray. She is blatantly flirting with Ray at the table in front of her husband, to a point her husband's all like, hold up, wait, run that back. Can't believe people just do this in the 1950s. I'm lying. They did a lot worse. People get beat back in that time. And you know what's funny about this whole ice cream thing, and even the milkshake mixer and all this stuff? I bet they would hate to find out that their ice cream machine never works now. We can never get a McFlurry. Ever. So, to all the mixers that don't work. Got started from a mixer, don't work because of a mixer. Anyways, we are now introduced to Harry Sonborn, who is played by BJ Novak, which, if y'all know me, which y'all probably really don't, I love The Office. So I was like, Ryan! Ew! Anyways, so he meets Ray by basically overhearing Ray's issues, and he presents a loophole for Ray. And that loophole is Ray purchased the land that the franchise or franchisees want to build on, because then at that point they're paying rent to Ray. So it has nothing to do with the actual business. It has everything to do with real estate. And even then, not just the people who want to build on it, but also the brothers gotta pay Ray too, because the land gets a percentage. And let me tell you, that was by far the smartest thing. Yet I felt so bad for the brothers, but it was genius. It was absolutely genius. And so because of that, business booms nationally. And unfortunately, Dick finds out about the franchisee realty and through a letter, maybe even a letterhead, whatever the case is. And that's how he finds out that basically this loophole that Ray and Harry have created and found or whatever. I did have a question by this point, is never have Dick and or Mac, and the only reason why I say this is because we saw proof from the commercials about them opening up locations in Dallas and all this other stuff. They never got a press tour. They never, there's no local newspapers or news station that's coming to meet Dick and Mac in San Bernardino. No one is saying, hey, let's talk about you guys because y'all are the very first ones. We've been knowing y'all for however long y'all been at this particular location. Like, no marketing? It really sucks, right? Because we are seeing the wolf and the chickens. And they are legit chickens. Because it's like, business-wise, y'all are not there. And this is why, unfortunately, people get run over in a lot of, in all business, music, food, realty, everything. Like, this is how people get screwed over because they're unknown to it. And someone who takes the time to research what they should be doing, they lose. And this is no different. They lose because they're not actively trying to enhance themselves. They're looking just for someone else to do it, and they don't have to do nothing but sit there and make money. That's not always the best case scenario. This is why jobs tell you go back to school, or this is why you have to go back to school, because you can't compete with new people coming in. Things change. Maybe the art of the game stays the same, but at the end of the day, things get added, things switch up, and you want to constantly be on your toes. And to me, as Ray was growing, so should have Dick and Mac been growing with their own knowledge and seeing or coming down, especially after they start opening up a location, 3 locations in a month. That should have been enough for Dick to be like, let me go and check out and make sure things are running as smoothly as I even said I wanted to be incorporated. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't do that, because I didn't do a full backstory check to see what was true, what was not true, blah, 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 blah. But when Ray started advancing, so should have Dick and Mac. They should have been right there along, overseeing, checking it out, learning the business for themselves. They just totally just gave Ray reins, and then want to sit here and dictate everything. Not to say that they shouldn't, because this all was their idea, but they didn't try to level up too. They was comfortable with where they were at, and that's why they lost. I mean, we all watched the movie at this point, right? Because even though I'm talking to you about it, we're friends. We watched this together. We're talking about this together. We're kikiing together, because you're down in my comments right now. Yes, you are. You're down in my comments right now. We're talking about it. But that, right? So, yeah. Anyways, fast forward. yeah, Ray gets big-headed, and when he started really succeeding, when he starts going nationwide, he said bump the McDonald's brothers. He allows the Smiths to go ahead and not only try out, but we're going nationwide with the powdered milkshakes. And there was nothing that they could do about it. Why? Because even when, well, we'll get to that. Anyways, so the next scene, we see Ray and Joan all on the phone talking business. And this was like the weirdest provocative stuff I had ever seen, right? Because it was like they're definitely like sneakily like talking and yes, Ray, yeah, we should do this, but it's not sexual. It's a, what do they call those people who are into that? I want to say Homo sapien, but that's not the word I'm looking for, because that's human. But basically being turned on by someone's mind. I know this because my last relationship, I was definitely, let me just Google it because it's going to bother me. It is called sapiosexual. And I witnessed this in my relationship, that I loved him for his mind. I mean, just how knowledgeable he was. And we're not talking about me. That's not the point. The point is that's how this phone conversation was. It looked and seemed provocative, but they were talking about straight up business. So even if somebody walked in and was like, what y'all talking about? Well, we was talking about work. But it was such a turn on for Ray. I mean, he was over there like, yeah, you thought of that? Ooh, I like the way your mind works. Now, the trifling thing that Ray does is he doesn't even tell Dick or Mac that he's doing the powdered milkshakes, right? So when Dick finds out, he calls Ray like, hey, yo, like, we already told you no. And Ray's like, well, we doing it. Oh, well. And unfortunately, as we already discussed, there's nothing that Mac and Dick can do at this point, financially, they can't afford it. They're still making the same 15 cents and not really, I guess, truly profiting off of all these franchises like they should. So they can't even sue Ray. I mean, they can try, but not really. And I mean, at this point, this is when we just all start hating Ray, right? This is where we just see the downpour of Ray's cockiness, arrogance, whatever. He even is just sitting at the table after Ethel has cooked a nice dinner and served him, and is sitting there quietly and all this other stuff, and Ray just gonna sit here, I want a divorce. Cleans his mouth and leaves her at the table by herself. I mean, you know what? Honestly, she should have felt just a small little bit of joy or relief, because, I mean, the way he was turning out to be, she wouldn't have wanted to be with him anyway. But at the same time, I don't know how old Ethel is, but I can only imagine that she's probably thinking like, dang it, now I gotta start over. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Go back to that same country club and find you a man. Cause, but she shouldn't have also looked so surprised, because he clearly wasn't sleeping with her. She hinted something. She may not have known exactly, but it was always something, very much something, by his, his nonchalantness, and, it was, all that stuff. She peeped game. She knew it was coming. She didn't maybe want to, accept it, but she knew it was coming. But unfortunately, when it came to the divorce proceedings, Ray refuses to give her any part of the business. Give her all the other stuff, the house, everything, because he don't want that stuff no more. He's leveling up. I don't need that little cheap old house. That was then. This is now. but he refused to give her any part of the business, even though she was helping him find families and seemingly, maybe not to the full extent, seemingly supported him throughout this time. He also refuses to work it out with the McDonald's brothers, and Mac got so upset, yet again, can't stress out a diabetical person, so it caused Mac to go into the hospital. And Ray does come up there and brings flowers, but he presents them a blank check. And this is after telling them on the phone, like, look, I'm national and y'all are local. Try me if you want. Come after me if you want. You can't. So yeah, he comes up there with a blank check and it's like, and they're like, what is this for? And he's like, you'll figure it out, but let me know. It has, you know, him as the founder, the McDonald's symbol in there, all that. But all they wanted was $2.7 million and some royalties. And this is where the absolute stupidest part of the entire dadgum movie happened in this scene, which is he wanted them to agree to a contract through a shaking of hands. Absurd. Absolutely absurd. The entire flying F, what the was that? And mind you, the only reason why they're shaking hands to it is so that way Ray is protected from his investment group. They're not gaining from that. And like, I don't care if you try to do it, regardless of the fact, whether that's how people handle business or not, we're shaking hands. I'm not saving you when you're trying to destroy me. You want me to shake your hand so you and your partners don't see our contract, but which I still think was a lie. It was a lie. It had to be a lie, because that scene with him and Harry, and he's pacing back and forth. He's like, nah, what can they do? Blah, 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 blah. So to me, this seemed like a lie. Like, oh, I'm going to just say this to them so that way I don't have to deal with them financially any further. And it worked. It absolutely worked. So, because he played on their emotional, weak behavior. So, I mean, poor Mac looked dead inside. Literally looked like death smacked him straight across the face. But that was it. They shook hands. Ray goes to the restroom, and Dick goes in there to use the restroom as well, and he confronts Ray, and he's like, you know, why didn't you just steal it? I mean, you got everything. We told you everything. We told you how to do everything. All you have to do is redo it yourself without even letting us know, without even doing all that you did. And he's like, well, the reason why is because I liked your name. McDonald's sounds American. Croc sounds like a crockish. This is what it is. It's marketing. The name of it is you needed a fantabulous name, and it sounded like old McDonald had a farm, and so that's why he did. That's why he chose to deal with them. And like Dick say, so you can't beat it, you buy it. Yup, that's exactly what he did. It's not about who did it first, it's about who did it better. Ray shows how much of an a-hole he is, that he not only takes away their rights to use their name, but then he builds a McDonald's right across the street so that they can eventually get out of business, which took a couple of years, but they eventually got out of business. It's now 1970, and Joan is now married to Ray. So she must have got a divorce too. He got a divorce, and that was the end of that. And they get married, and off they went. And that was pretty much the whole movie. The ending, this is once again because it's based off of a true story. They do get all these facts at the end. So they say that June, which is the secretary, turned out to be part owner, and she was the first woman to trade on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Fred Turner got so high up that he succeeded Ray by becoming senior chairman, and he opened up 100 international locations. Harry Sonborn was the first president and CEO of McDonald's Corporation, but he resigned. Well, actually, now that I'm seeing what year it was, he must not have been there for much long, because by 1970, which is that end scene, Harry was already resigned from McDonald's and never spoke about McDonald's again because he had a falling out with Ray. So, there goes that. Joan and Ray stayed married until his death. Now, I did do a tiny bit of research on the backstory here. But yeah, they stayed married until his death in 1984. And she took all his money and donated it to charity, specifically like the Salvation Army. She gave like $1 billion to them. So I don't know if she just couldn't stand Ray towards the end. Like, she realized Ray was a piece of ish too. To just be giving up money like that, or maybe she just was like, you know what, I don't need all this money. Who knows? McDonald's is one of the largest real estate holders in the world, and it feeds 1% of the world's population. And they put ice cream back into the milkshake, even though that gum machine is always broken. Go freaking figure. Eventually, the brothers did go out of business, like I already said, and they never received royalties because they couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove the handshake, which is crazy, because to me, there was like 3 or 4 lawyers in that room alone. No one could testify that they saw a handshake. Okay. But had they not shook hands and just been persistent about signing that contract, they would have been making $100 million per year. Once again, weak at the end. I mean, throughout this whole movie, I'm not sure if y'all thought this, because I definitely thought this, but let me tell you, if you didn't know Michael Keaton and you really believed him to be Ray, I mean, he just has the face of a prick. I just was like, it did not help that his face looked like that. Like, he just looked like a jackhole. And it's sad, because there's so many other movies of Michael Keaton that I actually love, and I do know he's the original Batman. But man, oh man, he had that face of being a jerk. Truly had that face. And at the end of the day, like I said, the brothers were too soft. And Ray was a hungry and true salesman. And unfortunately, whoever's hungry is going to get the prize. Now, the little bit of backstory that I did find on it was that Joan got divorced, and she got divorced from Rowley in 1969 and married Ray in 1969 as well. Ray is 26 years older than her. And they actually met in 1957. Now, supposedly, don't know if this is true or not, supposedly, allegedly, they met in 1957, and she didn't see him again till a McDonald's conference in 1969. And then 6 months later, got married to him. I don't believe it. I really don't, but if that's what you want to say. Once again, I was wondering if Ethel and Ray, or Ray and Joan, had kids. Now, they did say Joan had one daughter with Rowley, and her name was Linda. By the time that Ray and Joan got married, she would have been like 21. So I do appreciate the fact that he didn't just come and bust up her little happy home scenario. At least her kid was gone or whatever. But Joan did die in 2003 from brain cancer, and she was 75 years old. So she lived a long life, and they've always known her to be a very well-known philanthropist and giver. So anyways, that is it for this episode of Wait, Run That Back? Hey guys, I actually filmed this movie before I filmed Unbroken. I forgot to put on here which emoji I want you to put underneath my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok to let me know that you watched and enjoyed this video. So I want you to go ahead and put the McDonald's fries, or you could just type in fries into your emojis. It looks like this. And I want you to go ahead and put that under my stuff to let me know, like, hey girl, we saw it. So their next movie that we are going to be watching is going to be The Terminal. It is on Amazon Prime. It's called The Terminal. It came out in 2004. I was right. Tom Hanks is the main character in the movie, as well as Catherine Zeta-Jones. So is Aldana. I think we're really going to like this because I don't want to keep going into the sad place of movies. I felt like Unbroken was sad. The inevitable defeat of Mr. and Pete was sad. So therefore, I'm trying to kind of give you a little variety. This movie just made you mad. So we are going to be watching that next. Remember, it's on Amazon Prime. Anyways, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any other movies that you'd like to recommend that we can watch, I mean, hello, we're friends here. We're friends. I'm your virtual girlfriend. I'm your virtual bestie, I'm your cousin, your sister, your auntie, whatever, and we're watching movies together and we're tee-hee-hee and kiki and all in the comments. So if you have any movies that you like for us to watch together, make sure that you comment down below which one you would like to watch, or give me a list. Shoot, this is what we do, especially when you're single and you're not ready to mingle. You want to just watch a movie set at home. Child, yes, I'm here for it. Definitely just put that down in the comment section. Use our emojis, the rewind button, the VHS tape, for us to identify each other as what? The Wait, Run That Back crew. Okay, I don't have a name for us yet, y'all. I don't have a name for us yet. When I come up with a name, we will. Or maybe y'all can come up with a name for us, you know. But nonetheless, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all at LorenEleece. It's your girl Loren. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see y'all next time for us to watch The Terminal. Love you guys. Bye.